Hi, in this video I'll show you how to create a static timestamp using Google Sheets. So why would we use a static timestamp? So let's say, for example, we have a small portion of a project plan. We have our task, percent complete, status, and start date. Now, if I put 10% complete, we just started, and I press enter, you'll notice that my status turns to in progress, and this start date turns to 12/21. Now, whenever we change this percent complete, we don't want that to change. We don't want that start date to change. So if I change it to 20%, it doesn't change. If I change it to 30%, it doesn't change, right? So we want to have it effective where when we have that there, it's not going to change. Now, you may say, oh, yeah, we can just hard code 12/21 in there. But let's say, for example, this was not this particular format. And I'll show you how this particular format works. Now, use the now function, and it will include the time date or date time. Let's refresh this. I'm going to refresh the browser here. Let's see if it picks it up. And all right, so what I'm going to do here now, I'm just going to change the default the way it's displayed, date and time. So now it's picked that up. I need to refresh this again, right? And so we can see if it's working with this now statement. Let's see, refresh this again. And maybe I'll change this back to 0 or just blank. Delete that, press enter, and then now put 10%, press enter, and now you can see that the start date has changed. We have 14:39:54 as the time. Now if I wait a couple seconds and I maybe put 20%, that should change, right? But it doesn't change, right? If I had a now statement here, press enter, and I refresh this, that's going to change because a second has passed there, right? So this is how we can effectively make that particular now statement static. So it's going to pick up. So it's going to apply to the today statement, which just gives us the date. And so if I change this again, nothing's changed. If I refresh this, that's going to change. But that 54, it's not going to change. So this is using recursive calculation. So if I were to make some kind of analogy, let's say that you had a magic wallet and you had $100 in your hand and you put that $100 into your wallet and you closed it and opened it, and then it gave you an extra $100. And all you need to do is take another $100 out, put it back in, close it, add another $100, and then you're going to have $300. So just think of recursive calculation. That's what it's doing here. So there's a couple things we need to set up. So let's get into it. So here I have a new worksheet. I'm just going to take the header, Control-C to copy, and then put it into this worksheet here. I'll just call this task 1 here, task 1, and percent complete. I'm not going to do anything here. Status, I won't do that yet. So for start date, the formula that we need to employ here or deploy here is an if statement. So we'll do if, open parentheses, if this cell does not equal blank, two quotes, blank, then I'm going to start another if statement. So in this here, we're going to say if cell D2 itself, and this is where the recursive calculation comes into play. If D2 equals blank, then put the today function, bring today's date back. Otherwise, a D2. Close parentheses, comma. So if this part is false, B2 doesn't equal blank, then we want to make that blank. Close parentheses, press enter, and you have nothing. And let's say I put 10% here, and I'll show you something where it doesn't work, where you need to have a setting in place for this to work. Press enter, and it's going to give you a dash ref error. Now, what this is doing is it's looking at itself, right? D2, if D2 equals blank today, otherwise D2. So it's doing a recursive calculation, which it shouldn't be able to do. And the reason why is because we don't have it set up. So if I go to File and go to Properties, Spreadsheet Settings, and for the calculation, I turn on Iterative Calculation. That means it can do a recursive calculation. Iterative just means it can do it over and over again. Set that to on, and let's just say we only let it do one iterative calculation. Close that, and let's refresh this. And maybe sometimes you just need to take the formula, take it out, put it back in. So Control X, press Enter. Let's go back into our cell. Control V to paste back in, press Enter. Got our dash ref. Let's see if I'm referring to the right cell. If P2 doesn't equal anything, then if D2 equals nothing today, let's see my dash ref. Oh, maybe I didn't say OK when I set it. Scroll down, spreadsheet settings, calculations. Let's set it on 1. Let's see if we have to save this. Scroll down to save it. Let's see, it needs to reduce his, yeah. Click Save Settings, and now it's at 0. Let's make this blank and put something back in there, 10%, press Enter, and now I have my date. And to see that this actually works, let's put in the now statement instead. So we got our date time. Press Enter. So we'll use the, oops, delete that. Close parentheses. Let's get to the end here, press Enter, and let's see if we need to refresh this. Do a refresh. That's still there. Maybe a shift refresh. So it will pick it up. Do a shift refresh. Stop that. Shift refresh. Let's see if it picks it up. And if it doesn't, delete this. And then we'll make this 20%. Let's see if that picked it up. Yep. So I picked that up. So if we change that, now if we change that, that should, we'll wait a couple seconds, but if we change that, that should be 1450 and then maybe 1451. If we change this to 30%, press Enter, this should not change because our formula. So it doesn't. So just to show that it should change, let's use now here, percentage, and wait about 5 or 10 seconds. That should change from 21 to 25. Change this to 50%, press Enter, and you can see that change, but that did not change. So that's how we can have a static timestamp based off of a trigger of another cell using Google Sheets. Some things that you just need to be aware of is that you have to turn on the Iterative Calculation setting in Google Sheets for you to do this. And for my status, I'm just going to take the status from the previous one. So that's this formula here. So I'll just Control C to copy that, bring that over here, and Control V to paste. And you see that it just all it does is looks at cell B2. If it's greater than 0, then perform this function. Look at cell B2. If it equals 1, completed. Otherwise, in progress. Press Enter. Now you can see that's in progress. If I set that 100%, press Enter, it becomes completed. So that's that cell. So that's how you can create a static timestamp based off of a trigger on another cell using Google Sheets. So you just have to keep in mind that you have to change a setting, the iterative calculation setting in Google Sheets before you can have this there. So it'll let you create circular references basically. So I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.